Sitting here with a brand new artist, Bobby Creekwater. What's going on with you, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, sir.
What up guys, it's your boy Ali, and welcome to Hip Hop Forever. Now before we get started, make sure to add me on IG. I haven't been promoting that at all, but you know what they say, it's better late than never. I'll be doing some giveaways on IG. You can also request videos there as well. Now for the video. Now near the mid-2000s, Eminem was on top of the world musically. He released his fifth studio album Encore, which came in at #1 on the Billboard 200, selling 1.7 million copies in the first week. Evidently, the album was a commercial success. After finding 50 Cent and making him a household name, Eminem didn't stop looking for new artists to sign to Shady Records. And a few years later, he signed Bobby Creekwater to the label.
The dream team, Bobby Creek, Fitty and them. We run the city like Diddy and them.
Before signing to Shady Records, Bobby was just a local Atlanta artist with dreams of being a rap star. He quit school to do music and became the second member of a rap duo called Jatis. Both artists caught a glimpse of what could have been a successful career when they got signed to Columbia Records through Loud Records. At that point, the rap duo probably felt safe and secure now that they had a label deal. However, things didn't work out for the both of them. Loud Records folded, and as a result, Jatis was left without a label. Bobby caught his big break when he appeared on a demo tape alongside Asim. When label executives from Shady Records heard Bobby rap for the first time, they knew that they were onto something. And instead of signing Asim, Eminem thought Bobby Creekwater was a better fit for Shady Records. When Bobby was on Shady Records, he along with Cassius and Stat Quo were put in a position to win. But not only that, he was signed to one of the biggest artists in the world. He should have blown up. However, despite being in a good place back then, he clearly fell off over the years, leaving his fans wondering what happened to Bobby Creekwater.
Most people would know me from Shady. My days at Shady Records. I was signed to Interscope. I think it's like 05. Yeah, so that's what most people would know me from, man. I got a shot. M gave me a shot, you know what I'm saying, to come do music on the national level, on the national stage. And I was there from like 05 to I want to say 09.
Now 2005 was a great year for Bobby. Not only did he get signed, but he released his first mixtape titled Anthem to the Streets. This mixtape was Bobby's real foray into the music industry. It gave us a feel for his flow, skill level, and bars. Overall, the mixtape was hard. Things were really starting to look up for Bobby. It seemed like the young rapper who had taken a chance and made a leap of faith into the rap game was finally about to make noise on Shady Records. Now around 2006, Eminem dropped The Re-Up, a project specifically designed to introduce the new members of Shady Records to the world. The album debuted at #2 on the Billboard 200 and sold about 300,000 copies in the first week.
You know, yeah, like you don't know. I tell you, club or folk show.
Evidently, the album did well sales-wise. Bobby appeared on about 7 tracks and according to LA Times, was proclaimed the most lethal spitter out of all the new pack of rappers Eminem had signed. They even went as far as to call him a more demonic version of Andre 3000, a rapper he grew up idolizing. Now in my opinion, if we're talking about the Re-Up album, Eminem did try to give the new members of Shady Records a platform. As mentioned before, Bobby appeared on several tracks, while most members of Shady Records only appeared on 1 or 2. Also, Bobby went from being a local mixtape rapper to doing songs with Akon. Listening to him rap on this album, you could tell that he had the drive and hunger to succeed. However, despite Eminem's push and Bobby's desire to win, he failed to blow up on the label or release a debut album. And I'll talk about the reasons why he didn't do so in a second. Now after appearing on the Re-Up album, Bobby Creekwater didn't slow down and went on to deliver 2 mixtapes back to back. The first one was a follow-up to his earlier release titled Anthem to the Streets 2, and the second mixtape was one he titled Back to Briefcase. Now at this point, Bobby was really starting to make a noise. Some people even started comparing him to T.I. and made assertions that he would dethrone T.I. as King of the South. At this point in time, Bobby had a lot of momentum and was making a lot of moves, but as we all got to find out, that didn't last very long. The late 2000s is when things started to fall through the cracks for Bobby Creekwater. He tried to say positive things about Shady Records during interviews. However, over time it started to become apparent to the world that Shady Records were starting to lose momentum. In one interview, Bobby said the following: "Everything's beautiful, man. Eminem's working on his next project and everyone's getting geared up for that. So everything's beautiful." However, everything wasn't beautiful for Obi Trice, who left Shady Records in that same year. One of the reasons Obi Trice left Shady Records is because the label chose to focus on the bigger artists because they could guarantee a profit, whereas the less developed artists on Shady Records had not proved their ability to sell a lot of records. By focusing on 50 Cent and everything he was doing, the promotion of all the other artists on the roster was kept to a minimum. Nonetheless, Bobby Creekwater was still optimistic as he geared up for the release of his debut album titled A Brilliant Mistake. Everybody over at the label takes music seriously. They're perfectionists, and they understand that first impressions are everything. If our projects take a little longer than people would like, just know that we are making impactful music, so we can make the impression we need to make. The music is going to be worth it for the fans. The wait will be worth it. Clearly at this point, Bobby was still hopeful. His debut album under Shady Records was supposed to be produced by Mr. Porter, Alchemist, and Eminem himself. Everyone from the critics to the fans looked forward to Bobby's debut, and to satisfy their desire for new music, he went on to drop his first EP called The BC Era.
I came in this here game to take chance. Make girls get on the floor like breakdance.
After Bobby's EP dropped, the fans were eagerly awaiting A Brilliant Mistake. However, it didn't come out under Shady Records, and it appears that Eminem is partly to blame for that. Now, one thing about signing to a label where the main artist is in charge is that if the main artist loses momentum musically, then so will the entire team. The label owner plays a vital role in the success of an artist, to which he or she is signed under. With that being said, the impact of Eminem's drug addiction, which was said to be at an all-time high around the time of the re-up, negatively affected Bobby Creekwater's career. Now, it didn't seem like Eminem's drug addiction was much of a problem at first. Eminem dropped Encore during his drug addiction phase, and it still did well commercially. However, most fans of Eminem know that Encore wasn't his best work. Being addicted to drugs affected his drive and motivation. In the late 2000s, Eminem's drug addiction was still a shadow lingering in the background. Between Eminem's personal issues and the label's heavy focus on 50 Cent, Bobby was beginning to feel obese pain. He felt left out, often feeling like he was never going to drop an official album under Shady Records. Proof's death also got to Eminem. If you want to know more about that, I spoke about it in my What Happened to Cassius and Stat Quo videos. Interscope had to pay bills, so they had to go with what they knew would pay the bills. Dre, 50. It was a situation that caused me to sit still a little longer than I expected, or what I planned for. It is one of those things where I had to go off and create other opportunities for myself, and they were very understanding. They didn't hold me up. They understood my plight and let me go on my way. We worked out what needed to be worked out as far as the music was concerned. Everything that I wanted, I was able to keep. Like I said, they were very fair as far as letting me do my thing. Now, in the late 2000s, Bobby released an EP appropriately titled The Day It All Made Sense. It appears the title of this EP summarized his relationship with Shady Records, as he left Shady Records in the same year. According to Bobby, he wasn't dropped from the label, he chose to leave. Soon after his departure from the label, Bobby released a song titled The Day I Got Dropped, shedding light on the situation of his departure and essentially explaining that he didn't get dropped from the label.
The day I got dropped. Damn, I can't believe he got dropped.
In retrospect, Bobby once stated, "It was an unfortunate thing that a cast that talented and all the plans we had didn't come to fruition." As far as Eminem is concerned, I can't possibly speak on what he was going through at the time. I do know that the industry and this game has a lot of pressures, and the higher up you go, the harder it gets. I've never been that high, so I couldn't begin speaking on the pressures. Being responsible for a label and being responsible for artists and their dreams. I can say this, it's unfortunate that a cast that talented didn't get their shit off. Evidently, Bobby doesn't blame Eminem for the way his career turned out. Now, after leaving Shady Records, Bobby was still about his business. He created his own record label titled BGOV Inc. and released his second EP, The BC Era Deuce, under it. Around 2010, the rapper dropped 2 mixtapes back to back. Once again, one was a sequel to his last mixtape titled Back to Briefcase 2, and another mixtape titled Not Now But Right Now. In 2010 as well, he released a single titled The Art of Storytelling Part 5 in honor of Outkast, a group he admired very strongly. Now, as far as dropping mixtapes goes, Bobby Creekwater did put in a lot of work. He released a lot of them. However, most of his fans still wanted him to release a real debut album. Now, during his time at Shady Records, Bobby was supposed to release his debut album titled A Brilliant Mistake. The project didn't come out under Shady Records. However, in 2011, Bobby announced that he was going to drop the project, and instead of calling it A Brilliant Mistake, he retitled the album and called it Revenge. Now, Bobby has a habit of dropping something before his official release, and this time was no exception. He dropped a mixtape titled Prevenge, which was supposed to build the hype up for his official debut. After dropping Prevenge, Bobby released the first single from the Revenge album, album titled You and What Army.
Came up broke, the game was fixed, but how you gonna win if you don't play? They say be humble, that's a gang of shit. How you gonna be the man if you don't say?
The second single that got released from the album was called Bravo and featured a big name artist, Cardinal Official, who was pretty much blazing the scene at the time. It was finally time for Bobby to show and prove, and around 2011, he eventually released his debut album, Revenge, under his own imprint, BGOV Inc. Now it goes without saying that the album didn't do impressive numbers. In fact, when Revenge came out, not that many people were even aware of its existence. Worthy of mention is that in the same year, Bobby and Stat Quo joined forces under the name FUPM, Fuck You Pay Me, and intended to drop an album. In 2011, they made an announcement stating that they were going to work on a new project together. However, at the time it didn't materialize because both artists were focused on their own thing. For Bobby Creekwater, dropping his debut album was probably a special moment in his life. But was it enough? From my perspective, I know people who like Bobby Creekwater's music. Besides Cassius, they thought that he was a standout act on Shady Records. However, a lot of them didn't even know that Bobby Creekwater dropped an album until I brought it up. Evidently, Bobby Creekwater is not on a lot of people's radars in 2020. Truth is, the music industry is very cutthroat and doesn't wait on anybody. If an artist can't get their shit together and prove their worth quickly, the fans tend to move on just as swiftly. This is the case most of the time, and it applies to Bobby's career. One thing nobody can deny is that Eminem did play a role in Bobby's downfall. As a boss, his role should have been to put the team first. The boss is supposed to carry the weight of the company on his shoulders. In this case, Eminem dropped the ball, as his substance abuse, along with his unfortunate personal loss, got in the way of Bobby Creekwater's rise to the top. Also, Bobby couldn't compete with 50 Cent. 50 was a priority for the label because he was selling a lot of records, whereas Bobby, on the other hand, was yet to prove that he could move any units. Now, Bobby isn't one to quit. Around 2013, Bobby and Stat Quo came back together as FUPM to announce the release of their debut project, FUPM is the Future. In the wake of the announcement, FUPM put out a third single titled New School, Old School. Before going on to release the entire album. As mentioned earlier, Bobby Creekwater has dropped a lot of mixtapes. If you're a fan of him, they're worth checking out. He gets about 180,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, and to nobody's surprise, most of his plays come from the Re-Up album. In essence, Bobby is still dropping music. What else can I tell you?
Well, I've been lending my talents to other artists, man, to the future of this thing. Like, my purpose is always to contribute to this art going forward. Like, and I feel like even if I wasn't in it firsthand, I always wanted to contribute to it. So I just been working with artists, man, like dope individuals that I think can really push this thing forward. So I've been lending all of my talents to that, like whether it be writing, and a lot of people don't know, but I produce as well.
That's it for me, man. It's your boy Ali. What happened to Bobby Creekwater in your opinion? Let me know down below. Also, if you have any video requests, be sure to let me know as well. New What Happened To video dropping next week. Also follow my Instagram, that's hiphopforever 3 R's. First giveaway taking place this month. Till next time, peace.